We'll try it again. Welcome back, everybody. We're back with the finale of our Mega Man 4 race. Any percent. About to kick off and close out the Mega Man block for the day. We've got 3 fantastic runners joining us here today. We've got iraqvet, lookintoad, and returning after a great Mega Man 3 run, MelloFlowz. And Squidman joining in on commentary. Why don't you go ahead and take it away for us?
Thank you, I'm doing it. Good afternoon. My name is Squidman, and I'll be your captain for this race. If you look to your right, you'll see 3 incredible Mega Man 4 runners who will be making their way to the big bad evil boss of this game, Dr. Cossack. And if you look to your left, you'll see that we have just ascended above $3,000. We'll be approaching a cruising altitude of $3,500 for this evening, so please get those donations in. Race time today should be approximately 40 minutes non-stop, so feel free to move about the chat room. And thank you for racing GOC Air. Racers, are you guys ready? All right, we're gonna begin a countdown. In 3, 2, 1, go! All right. So, welcome to Mega Man 4. This is one of my favorite games. I really like the fact that there are a couple of different routes that you can do here in the beginning. We have got our 3 wonderful runners in iraqvet, lookintoad, and Mello. You'll see that right off the bat, 2 of our runners have chosen Brightman stage first, and another one of our runners here has gone for Pharaohman stage first. These are 2 different routes that you can go ahead and do. One of them is gets you balloon early for some interesting balloon strats. Later in Brightman stage, the I would say safer route, sometimes or easier route, going through Brightman stage is a little bit slower, just because you have to ride these little crickets. But generally safer. You do have to buster down Brightman as well, whereas you'll see over here Lookintoad will end up getting Pharaoh's weapon for the Brightman fight. All right. There's this dangerous section here of the Brightman stage where we're kind of going over a lot of pits, but it looks like the runners are kind of hitting the first boss door pretty close to at the same time here. Lookintoad making it to Pharaohman's boss chamber just a little bit sooner. You'll see here Pharaohman kind of jumping about and then stopping to shoot his Pharaoh shots. What Toad is doing here is just going to be hitting with some charge busters and jumping over his shots. The other folks here who are in the Bright fight are actually going to be doing a very specific shot pattern here in order to avoid Brightman using his little flash stopper. Basically, Brightman will flash stopper you at, I believe, values of 16, 8, and 4. So basically shooting very specific buster shots and lemon shots in order to avoid those numbers so that we don't get frozen on screen. Actually makes the fight quite easy. And then we're going to do a little switch here. Lookintoad going to Brightman stage, while the other runners are going to be going to Pharaohman stage. You're in for a treat with Brightman stage, because Toad is going to be using the balloon utility here to traverse that whole cricket screen. The other folks here, though, are going to be having a much easier time getting through this first quicksand section. They're just going to be using the flash stopper here, weapon, to pause all of the enemies on screen and make their way to the screen transition, doing this precarious little jump over to the balloon weapon. All right, here we go. Toad coming up on the spiky cricket section, and we'll see some balloon action from him. Let's take a look over at Toad. This is always an incredible strat where he's just essentially using a combination of balloons and damage boosts to get himself over. And man, it looks like he did. Oh no! Just at the last second. It looks like he just missed a jump. He was home free. And unfortunately will now have to ride the crickets. Thankfully, he does have the Pharaoh shot here, which does make this a little bit easier, because it only takes a couple of shots to kill these totem poles, as opposed to the 6 lemon shots. Returning back over to the Pharaoh Man runners here, or the runners that are in Pharaoh Man stage. We'll see that they're getting to the boss door here. They're also going to use Buster on Pharaoh Man, just like Toad did. Now, one interesting thing about this game is that you do have to be in the middle. It will put you into the middle of the room once you beat a boss in order to collect the weapon. The interesting part about Mega Man 4 is if you're positioned at the exact correct middle pixel, Mega Man will be kind of teleported straight up into the center, basically skipping a little bit of this animation where he jumps up into the air and then comes back down and is hovering while he gets the weapon energy. So you'll see the runners kind of like, after a boss is defeated, they'll kind of scoot along, shimmy a little bit towards the center, and try to find that center pixel. And then you'll see if they have done that, they will instantly appear in the center and collect the weapon, have the weapon collection animation go. But now those 2 first stages are done, all of our runners will basically sync up at Ringman stage here, where they will be making heavy use of the balloon utility. Balloon utility is one of the best utilities in this, I think in pretty much any Mega Man game. It is, I mean, it's pretty great. It gets you up vertically very quickly. There's an interesting property of it where when you use it into, say, a wall or a ledge where it looks like it's like not there, it's disappeared pretty instantly. In fact, it actually does have a few frames of existence where if you're very quick, a runner can simply jump onto the non-existent balloon and use it as a platform still. And so you'll see there are runners doing a lot of that. They'll be using the balloon, sticking it closely into a wall, and pretty quickly jumping off of it. You'll also see a lot of Pharaoh usage here. Pharaoh is a very powerful weapon in the game. In fact, there are a lot of powerful weapons in this game. Pharaoh being one of them, Flash Stopper being another one. It's a very powerful. You'll see in many stages Flash Stopper being used to essentially skip a lot of like enemy fights, having to kill enemies. All right. Looks like Iraq has made it to the Ringman fight. This fight, I love this. It's like a little dance. You'll see that him doing a very specific pattern of shots and slides to kind of dance around Ringman and his shots. And all the runners will probably be doing this as well. I just love how beautiful this kind of looks. It's a very fun dance that you do here at the end. Oh, gosh. Looks like Mello took an unfortunate death there against Ringman. That is another thing to bring up. Mega Man 4 is a pretty rough game. It is probably, I think, one of the longest Mega Man games, at least on the NES. One of the longest speedruns. And it has some of the most dangerous fights. The Robot Masters in this game, on contact, will do 8 damage to you. And having only 28 health, you can die pretty quickly. So the Robot Masters here are extremely dangerous. They can be extremely dangerous. Anyway, moving on to Dustman stage, you'll see that one runner is using Bright Stopper I'm sorry, Flash Stopper. Gotta get my lore right. Flash Stopper here to basically stop these ladybugs from moving about in this lovely spike section. Whereas lookintoad has pulled out Pharaoh Shot, where he will be using this to eliminate the ladybugs from far away, thus reducing the lag. That's another thing about this game. If you thought Mega Man 3 was laggy, this game is, believe it or not, even laggier. It has just so many sections of lag. That section with the ladybugs, just an incredible amount of lag, and so killing them, getting their sprites off the screen as fast as possible is really desirable. Oh my gosh, and iraqvet doing a zip. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but that zip in the Dust Crusher room, that's a treat right there. Looking like Toad took an unfortunate, I think, death to the spikes, so he's gonna have to go back through the Dust Crusher room. Some brutal starts here for our runners. I think everybody has ended up taking some deaths, unfortunately. lookintoad doing that little shimmy there under that last Dust Crusher. It looks like it's gonna kill Mega Man, but that Dust Crusher can go pretty far into Mega Man's head there before it'll actually kill him. Unlike Mega Man 5, where if the Crusher even touches Mega Man's toe, Mega Man is dead. All right, it looks like iraqvet being the first one to get out of Dust Stage. He'll be moving on to Skull, while Toad kind of does his little dance here with Dustman. You didn't quite see it, but you'll see it again when Mello gets to Dustman. Dustman has some interesting AI where he can essentially become invulnerable and start sucking Mega Man in towards him. This is just such a... It's just I think every runner of this game loves these bosses because of the RNG that kind of just makes them invulnerable. And so no one wants to see that. You want to see the good pattern where he does nothing but jump around and or fire shots at you. All right, we've got Toad coming up here. He's going to be showing off a little glitch here. It's the only zip, really, human doable in the game, where he will be firing a balloon and then taking a little bit of damage to get himself through that wall. So, yes, both runners are actually pulling that off great. And you'll see, of course, another heavy use of balloon in this stage. Again, you'll see Toad firing balloons right into the wall here, looking like those balloons don't really exist, but they really do for a little bit, so he's able to jump off them, saving that much time, getting up the ladders, because ladders are slow, we don't want to climb ladders. Going back to that zip, though, the reason why Mega Man 4 doesn't have a whole lot of zips is because the developers of this game smartened up after Mega Man 1, 2, and 3, and after Mega Man 1, 2, and 3 discovering all of the zips that you can do in those games, they decided, you know what, if we detect that Mega Man is inside of a wall, we're just gonna kill him. So, Mega Man, if he's ever in a wall, he will just instantly be dead. And that goes for, I believe, Mega Man 5 and perhaps even Mega Man 6. I don't know about zips in Mega Man 6 necessarily, but yes, if Mega Man ends up in a wall, he ends up dying. However, if Mega Man 6 has iframes, if Mega Man has iframes, he doesn't die. So there's a little damage boost that's taken, and then the zip is performed, and it saves a few seconds, like 4, I think. Now, Skull, another boss that can become invulnerable. As you saw Toad taking care of Skull there, he put up his shield. He cannot be hit through his shield. And unfortunately, that shield is, the time that he keeps that shield up is RNG, so yet another instance of us, having to wait out RNG to eliminate a boss. Iraq, getting into, of course, one of my favorite stages because of all these beautiful fish. We're going into Dive Man stage. Dive Man stage has some interesting underwater physics here and underwater caveats as well. There are some mini bosses that are a little bit interesting because what the players will be doing here is using their flash stopper to essentially pause the mini boss before the mini boss spawns completely, but such that the hitbox is still there, and so that they can kill the mini-boss without the mini-boss actually fighting back. And generally you want to do that in one jump, but you see our runners here might be taking that a little bit cautious. An interesting thing about water in physics in this game, or water, I should say interaction in this game, unlike Mega Man 3, in Mega Man 4 you cannot jump out of your slide underwater, and so you have to be very, very careful about sliding in this game. You have to cancel it essentially by pressing in the opposite direction. And so yes, you'll see these folks being very careful sliding under the water here. And in fact, if you'll see in Toad's screen, he's sliding right past this little pit here, which is actually the path down to the wire. None of our players are going to be getting the wire, but it is down there. Toad is pulling out Skull Shield early. Skull Shield being the weakness for Dive Man here, but he's using it to basically eliminate some enemies on the way. Got to be very careful though, because you have a limited amount of that ammo, and you're going to be using it all for this boss. All right. Both runners making quick work of Dive Man. Toad getting the quick weapon get there. That was pretty amazing. In the stage, once you're centered up at the in the center of the boss chamber after Dive Man is dead, this one's a little tricky. You have to do a little jump, but Toad getting that perfectly, like a pro. And then we go ahead and enter Drill Man. Drill Man stage is yet another stage where we just basically use our flash stopper the entire time. The whole stage here is routed around using flash stopper. So enemies are pretty much always paused. Interesting fact about Mega Man 4 versus Mega Man 5. A lot of people like to use the Mega Man 5 reference for when, you know, 1-ups drop, because the 1-up drop rate in Mega Man 5 is very high. In fact, the 1-up drop rate in Mega Man 4 is just as high as Mega Man 5. The difference, though, is that in Mega Man 4, we're mostly skipping enemies. We're just freezing them and kind of skipping past them. And so a lot of times you're just not really killing the enemies, not getting those drops. So this last section here that iraqvet is going through, you have to hit these little switches in order to make the platforms here appear. So they're doing some very strategic jumps while still using the flash stopper to get past all of these little enemies. You don't want these enemies or the things falling from the ceiling. So each one of those little shoots with arrows on them is dropping as a rock dropper. It drops boulders onto Mega Man. But of course, we use the flash stopper, and none of that matters. And for the Drill Man fight, who honestly should have been called Dive Man, because, as we can see on iraqvet's screen right here, Drill Man likes to dive. And when he's in that mode, he's once again invulnerable. A lot of bosses in this game just become invulnerable. Runners of this game are very well versed with the fact that there's a lot of time lost just due to RNG, where bosses just don't want to cooperate. All right, Mello starting his Drill Man stage here. Again, using flash stopper to get through all these enemies. I think you'll be seeing pretty much the same thing from him, going through all these rooms. Our other runners getting past Drill Man here. They will be entering Toad Man stage. Our illustrious Toad. This stage has an interesting gimmick in the beginning here of it's raining, and that rain actually pushes you back. And so immediately our runners are going to change to flash stopper to stop these dive bombing enemies from attacking them, while making some precise jumps to hit these platforms. They are fairly precise. It's not too hard to get them, but they are fairly precise. You do not want to miss them, though. This is another stage routed heavily with flash stopper, and wasting any flash stopper if you have to, go back and to the beginning and do that all over again is not ideal. Once again, though, mini bosses. This game loves its mini bosses. We've got these snails that you'll never see. Fortunately, the mini bosses in this stage do not actually block progress. You can simply pass them. Simply pass them by. You just have to flash stopper them before they actually spawn. And there is a little quirk caveat there. You do not want to flash stopper in those mini boss rooms on the first frame, otherwise you do cause a soft lock. So the runners are very conscious of this. They will only be flash stoppering once they see the animation come down. And the Toadman fight. This is probably the best fight in the game because he doesn't have any way of becoming invulnerable, and in fact, whenever you hit him, he resets. His AI kind of resets. He tries to do a little dance and hit you with the rain flush, but every time you hit him, he just gets confused and starts his dance over again. So probably one of the easiest bosses in the game. In fact, so much so that I think casually, a Toadman stage is usually one of the first stages that folks will go to, despite the fact that the beginning screen to this is quite difficult. For a casual player, of course. Mello trying desperately here to catch up. I think he had some trouble in Ringman stage, and it's just kind of got him a little bit behind. But iraqvet and Toad are almost neck and neck. You can see we're on the castle screen here. We've gotten to Dr. Cossack's castle, the big bad evil boss of this game, as everybody knows. This game broke the trend of all the previous three Mega Man games, in that Dr. Wily is out of the picture now, and the big bad evil guy, they decided to bring in a new character, and it's Dr. Cossack. Personally, this is my favorite music of the game. I am a big fan of Cossack 1, Cossack 2 music. And if anybody disagrees with me that it's the best, you're wrong. All right, Iraq getting up to this.
I would like to just temporarily disagree with you about something that might be better than this music.
Oh, is that right?
We did just get a $100 donation from High Five from Ryan.
Ooh.
Saying amazing runners, wholesome communities, cute chat, I can't talk, and hack cancer. Thank you, Ryan, for the donation.
And
we'll be seeing him coming up here soon too. Sorry to interrupt with my
No problem.
No problem.
We'll see the screens again from Mello. I was just gonna comment on the floating enemies coming out of pits gimmick on Cossack 1. It's a very, very dangerous screen, and you can easily die and fall into a pit and have to start over. And one of the things about Mega Man 4 that is just another brutal thing about this game, in my opinion, making it one of the harder games to run in the classic NES series, is that in the castle stages there is no checkpoint at the boss door, and so if you die at the boss, you have to go back to the midpoint of the stage, and hopefully we do not see that from any of our players. But it is extremely brutal, very brutal for new players, for casual players. Both iraqvet and Toad taking care of our moth monster, and making their way through Cossack 2 here. Heavy use of balloons coming up to get over this section of spikes. This is probably one of the scarier things for a viewer to watch. It's actually not that bad as a player, but they are taking damage boosts, precise damage boosts, to slide their way over these spikes, so that they don't have to spend a lot of time in that room. Normally, you would probably be using Rush Jet, but Rush Jet is very slow because Rush is a very bad boy, and Balloon is just better. Our runners are going to be making it to the boss here of Cossack 2, which is colloquially called the Square Machine. I don't know if that's its actual name, but it is the Square Machine. And this is another frustrating boss for runners. This boss is just an RNG nightmare. It has three speeds at which it can progress across the screen before it actually forms up and becomes vulnerable to our attacks with our Dust Crusher. There is a very high chance it will be 3 times it will swing across the screen. Fast, medium, and then slow before it forms up. And what the runners want to see is 2 slow patterns, because that is the fastest way to defeat this enemy. It looks like we ended up getting a fast pattern and a mid pattern for Toad. I did not see what iraqvet got. I think he might have got a fast as well. And 2 cycles is optimal for killing this boss. It looks like iraqvet actually missed an entire cycle. That's a pretty unfortunate, hefty time loss. Especially when you get a 3 pattern, you'll end up losing quite a bit of time. Oh, he's got to be very, 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 very careful. This boss can do, again, a lot of damage to you. Oh, looks like he's going to be taking a 4th cycle. That's very unfortunate. It's going to give time to Mello to catch up. But Toad is going to be taking quite a substantial lead here going into Cossack 3. Cossack 3, another stage with some very, very popular music. Very popular with the runners. It is our auto-scroller, and everybody loves auto-scrollers. Just you know, sitting there, waiting for enemies to show up, waiting to get to the next screen. Our only, thankfully, auto-scroller of this game. But yes, everybody loves auto-scrollers. iraqvet finally getting past Square Machine. I think he's upset, firing some upset shots at the fact that was 4 cycles. Toad using Ring's weapon here to kill those little spiky Roombas. And Mello getting into his Square Machine fight, starting off with a 3 pattern. Toad getting to the spot in Cossack 3 here where he's got to use these platforms. These platforms can be very, very tricky and very, very dangerous. You can easily fall off of these platforms. Once you touch them, they start rising into the sky, and you know, for a casual player, you can definitely get yourself caught up on one of these and then fall straight into a pit. And of course, as we know, if you die in a castle stage, you will be transported back to the midpoint. If you're past the midpoint, no, there are no checkpoints beyond that. And so Toad looks like he's taking it very, very carefully here. There are some strats where you can jump into those enemies and save a little bit of time. Again, getting enemies off the screen reduces lag, things of that nature. Using Pharaoh again, because that is the weakness for the boss. Toad doing a nice swag moonwalk into this fight, and we're going to see a nice scripted fight here from our cockroach twins. They always do the exact same pattern, save for the attack by the second cockroach twin. And Toad getting pretty much the optimal kill there. You want to use as little Pharaoh shot as possible so that he got that double shot on the first one to kill the first one and hit the second one. And he killed the second one and then the top middle of the screen. So that's a pretty optimal fight. That was a great fight from Toad. iraqvet getting into the chamber right now with the same scripted fight, so we'll be seeing more of that. Another moonwalk. The way that you do that is just by holding the opposite D-pad direction. A lot of people consider that to be swag. And once again, getting his double hit off there. Very nice, very nice. Ooh, he misses a shot. Looks like he will not be getting the optimal kill in the center. And using a little bit more Pharaoh than he probably wants to. Pharaoh is a very precious resource. We'll get into this. During the stages, the castle stages, you do not get a recharge on your weapons between stages. So using Pharaoh in this stage means that you have less Pharaoh to use in other stages, and it's a very powerful weapon and a very precious resource. You will be seeing Pharaoh used again and again throughout the rest of these castle stages. Toad making his way through Cossack 4, which famously, to quote Kumba, isn't even a stage. It is so short. It is so sweet. You will get to the boss in no time. There are alternate paths. The players will use balloon or coil to get up to one of the alternate paths. and we'll get to the Cossack fight, the final boss of the game, of course. The best way to fight Cossack here is by using Buster and then by sliding. Interestingly enough, the boss's AI is kind of dumb and doesn't know what to do when Mega Man's sliding. It just kind of sits there. So we can easily manipulate this boss by simply sliding at the correct time. And the boss, when he has 2 or less health, will be defeated. But it looks like Proto Man has actually rescued Dr. Cossack's daughter, Kalinka. What's going on here? Oh, I don't understand. Wily, oh my god! At least we saved Kalinka. It looks like it was Wily. He kidnapped his daughter. Looks like Dr. Cossack was being forced to work for him. This tangled web of lies and deception that we weave. So now we enter Wily's castle. Stage 1, probably one of the funnest stages in the game, in my opinion, just thematically at least. This stage, Wily 1, is all filled with Mets. Every single enemy in this stage is a Met. We have our normal Mets that pop up and shoot you. We have our dancing Mets that jump up and spin and hop and fire, shots. We have Mets here, we've got Mets there, it's our Met Emporium. Toad is going to be coming up to the underwater section of this, which is very tricky section. You do not want to make your jumps too big. You do not want to slide off into the spikes. So we'll be seeing some precise jumps from him. Very, very, very moderated jumps from him so that we do not hit these spikes. And then we'll be switching the Rush Jet and skipping a lot of Yoku Block sections because, everybody loves Yoku Blocks. I love Yoku Blocks. So it's a shame that we really pass these Yoku Block sections. All right. And, yes, of course, this entire stage being filled with Mets. The boss... I bet no one could guess what the boss is. Why, yes, it is also a big, giant Met. This is our Met Daddy. He is vulnerable to Ring and Dust Crusher, actually, but Ring is a far faster weapon to use on him. Dust Crusher being very slow. He can do big jumps. He can do small jumps. We'd like to see him open up for a very long time. So that you can hit him with a lot of Ring. You can actually get that fight done in 2 cycles if you're very lucky and very good. But the typical amount of time to do that is 1 cycle. Or sorry, 3 cycles, not 1 cycle. Gosh, I wish it was 1 cycle. 3 cycles. So we'll be seeing all of our runners probably get 3 cycles out of this. Once again, iraqvet here, just behind Toad. I think, unfortunately, that square machine has put him quite far behind. We'll see what happens, though. The race isn't over yet. A lot of things can happen. This stage is definitely also not a joke. There are a lot of places you can fall, a lot of places you can die. There are some spiky places that I think Toad is going to be taking some interesting slides on some interesting blocks coming up, so we'll see how that goes. Mello also coming through our Met-filled stage. Right into the clear water. Wily, I think, actually finally got his pumps fixed for Mega Man 2. Possibly Mega Man 3. Or his filters fixed. And the water is very clear now. Very nice. And he even bathroom tile, did a bathroom tiling in this. It's fantastic. He really shaped up the place. Toad coming up to the end of this stage, where he will be using Rush Jet to get over some areas with these gumball machines. And then he'll be switching to Toad's weapon, Rain Flush. But we'll be seeing Toad do some slides up here. Every time he... Oh, no, that's what I was talking about. I'm so sorry, Toad. Oh, so tricky. Well, as you can see, back to the midpoint for Toad, and we've got a race. iraqvet just a few screens behind Toad at this point. And Mello finishing off our Met Daddy. Gonna be coming into the same stage. All right, back to the gumball screen. Oh, Toad doing some serious swag here. Wow, and Toad still going for the slides. What a champ. iraqvet, just a few screens behind, will be coming up to the same screen. Now what Toad's gonna be doing here is, we're gonna be fighting Taco Trash. This is the boss name. I didn't name it, I swear. What he did there was he jumped through the boss door, and he fired a Rain Flush. And that Rain Flush ends up essentially canceling the health fill animation, which takes a very long time. We'll talk about that for a little bit. The health fill animation in Mega Man 4 is probably the slowest. So you'll see iraqvet doing the same thing. He jumps through the door, fires off a shot because he still has control when you're in the air. That shot essentially cancels the life fill. Now, he does something different where he pulls out drill, fires one drill shot into Taco Trash, and that basically eliminates the hitbox for the boss so that he can just stand right in the center of that boss and hit him with Ring. Toad did not do that. He simply canceled the health fill with the Rain Flush and then eliminated him with Ring, doing a little dance on the platforms. But yes, the health fills in this game are the slowest, I think, in any of the classic games. So anything that you can do to basically speed up health fills is very good strats. There is another one coming up with the Wily Machine. We'll be seeing shortly where you can also cancel a health fill in that fight. We'll also be seeing our runners do a couple different routes here through the refights. Toad liking to do one of the newer routes, which goes down to the bottom right and does first. We'll probably see from iraqvet the traditional speed route, which is to go to Pharaoh first. Both pretty much, ending up in the same spot, with Toad's being just a little bit faster if you can manage it, but a little bit more tight on the ammo usage. All right, Mello defeating Taco Trash and gonna be teleporting into our refights. Refights are a deceptively long stage. I believe in total it's something like 4 or 5 minutes just to do the entire refights. You think that it's quick just because these folks are so good that they eliminate these bosses so quickly, but it's actually a pretty long stage, all in all. So you see Toad using Dust Crusher against Pharaoh in these refights. It's funny because Pharaoh's weakness is actually Bright Stopper, but it's not really a weakness. It doesn't actually do a whole lot of damage to him. It just stops him in his tracks, and you can just hit him with the weapon. Fortunately, it's very slow, and so we use Dust Crusher against Pharaoh in the refights here because it is actually faster. And then, of course, we go to Skull because that is the true weakness here, the Dust Crusher on Skull. It looks like Toad is getting a very long shield. It's very unfortunate. So yes, we see the iraqvet here doing the more traditional refight ordering. And Mello coming very quickly on their heels into the refights. So we'll have all of our runners in the refights at the same time. You'll see that both these players are on Bright Man refight at the same time. But in fact, I think Toad is a little bit ahead just because he is doing them in a different order than iraqvet is doing them. Both players actually using Skull Shield to take down a Bright Man to a certain amount of health so that using Rain Flush doesn't trigger any of those 1684 health values that will cause Bright Man to freeze our players. Both players now entering into Drill Man refights and hopefully avoiding the invulnerabilities and the drunk missiles. Dive Man's weapon, which is the weakness for Drill Man, tends to like to just, I don't know, fly around all willy-nilly. Generally, players, at least I've always called it drunk missile when that happens. And Toad, first to enter our machine fight. You'll see Toad with one of the most wonderful noises in the game. The ring weakness on the machine, just tinking against this machine. It's lovely. It's great. You love it. Everybody loves it. Now you'll see Toad pause and go to drill for this last shot. And the reason why is because the drill will do 1 damage to that first form, and then the explosion will actually hit the machine in its second form, thus again canceling the life fill. And Toad being one of the first to get to the our final stage here. iraqvet on his heels, entering the machine fight. A little known fact about the Wily when Wily escapes from his machine. If you have any Rain Flush left over, you can actually use Rain Flush to kill the Wily enemy sprite that pops out of the machine. However, if you do that, you are entered into a soft lock. You cannot proceed. All right, Toad making his way into the final fight, the Wily capsule. He'll be switching to Pharaoh. Pharaoh's shot is the weakness. You can also use Ring, but Ring is a really bad weapon to use on this boss. Toad's got to be very careful. Wily can appear in a number of places above or below him. And Pharaoh's shot is uses a lot of ammo, so it's a very limited resource here. And also, he does a lot of damage. Wily does just a lot of damage. And you can get double shots in, as Toad just demonstrated. And Toad, GG, gets Dr. Wily in the end. But yet again, Dr. Wily, though he begs for forgiveness, sneaks away through his door, only to be seen in a sequel. GG to Toad. That was a great race. Pretty close. We got iraqvet coming in to the final fight here as well. Using Pharaoh, trying to get those double shots if you can. And Toad in the credits. One of the best, in my opinion, credit themes, tracks in classic Mega. Alright, and GG to iraqvet. He has eliminated a Wily's capsule, yet still letting Wily escape once again. Mello in the refights, taking care of Drill Man with our drunk missiles. Going wherever they want to go. Mega Man riding a train on his way back home. Up in the top right corner, and now the top left corner. Alright, and you can see here why Pharaoh is so valuable. We've used so much Pharaoh ammo, and yet it is the weakness for some of the refights that we need to some of the Robot Masters and the refights that we need to be fighting. And so it is a very, very precious resource. And it's also the weakness for the final boss, so we have to manage our Pharaoh ammo very carefully. And of course, just before the end of the credit, or the end of the first part of the credit roll, we get our sepia toned freeze frame. Just fantastic, classic Mega Man credits right here. All right. Once again, we get to hear the best sound of the game, the Wily machine tinks. E. Everybody loves it. E. Re. Switching to drill, and we'll be taking care of this boss real fast. funny enough, this boss is weak to drill, but not weak to the drill projectile, only weak to the drill explosion. And so our runners all actually were firing it and then pressing the fire button again just before the drill would impact the machine, thus causing the explosion to hit the machine. All right, Mello entering our final fight now. There's a very, very nice technique for sliding here. Neutral slides, I like to call them, where you don't actually press left or right on the D-pad. You're just pressing down in that section, which kind of gets you through it pretty easily. All right, and our Wily capsule has appeared. Some unfortunate spawns where he's down below Mega Man. All right. One more shot. And he takes care of Wily. GG to Mello. Really excellent race. A lot of fun. Let's see those credits. Everybody, let's give some claps for our racers. Mega Man 4, one of the, in my opinion, best Mega Man games out there. Absolutely love it. Absolutely enjoyed that. I'm really thankful that they allowed me to commentate on this, as Mega Man 4 is pretty special to me. So thank you guys. And I'm not sure if anybody is up for it, but if you'd like to unmute. Hello, Toad.
Yo.
Hello. GG's, everybody. Good job, guys.
GG's crew.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I blame you, Squid, for me missing those.
I knew it. I knew it.
Slides.
I knew it.
I said it out loud. I was muted, but you should have heard me here. Just all the things I was saying.
Your skill is your own, my friend.
Yeah. I know.
But I knew they were coming. I knew they were coming. And I knew even if I said nothing, you would be doing them anyway.
Yeah.
It was nowhere near as ugly as my Square Machine fight. That was just gross.
I saw it. I was commentating on it, of course. I'm sure you guys all heard me.
I did,
that
yeah.
was a...
All right, guys.
I tried to take it safe, but I couldn't do it.
Thank you all so much for a fantastic rate. GG's to
GG,
all
Mello.
of our racers. Squid, thank you for the great commentary.
Absolutely. It was a
Thanks,
We
pleasure.
will be coming right back with Super Metroid Expedition Z with Linkmeister. Everybody, sit tight. We will be back here in just a moment.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thanks all.